What would be helpful today?
Oh my gosh, where to start? So many things. So I hopped on an Ask Allison Live once in the past few months.
Hmm.
I am a school counselor finishing out the year. This is my last official week with kids.
Congrats.
And thank you. And transitioning into private practice, it was something that was going, I had planned on it being a 3-year process,
Hmm.
transitioning out of school. But for reasons that are the broken system, I
Hmm.
have had about 8 months to
Oh,
prepare
wow.
to
Okay.
launch into private practice. I am licensed in 2 states,
Hmm.
licensed in Wyoming in February and Idaho in March.
Hmm.
Um, Recently secured an office space, all of that kind of stuff. I've gone through the abundance modules. They have been so incredibly helpful. There's no way that I could have done this without them.
Oh, good.
As I'm getting closer, and fortunately for me, my last paycheck isn't until August.
Hmm.
So I've got some time to, do things. I've already had 2 clients,
Hmm.
one online and one in person in my office in Idaho. And of course, I'm planning on spending the summer ramping up. I have gotten all jumbled recently. Part of the reason that this decision became easier was there's a significant need for mental health care in the adolescent world
Hmm.
where I live. And then within the last 3 months, like 4 other new counselors have popped up and are starting practice. So
Hmm.
it's made me kind of jumbled in terms of my niche, and my husband and I debate whether it's niche or niche. Um,
Either one works. I looked it up once.
so I think I want some guidance around that.
Hmm.
First, I want to say, leaving this, what I would call dysfunctional system, has made me absolutely not want to go into another one in terms of the insurance world. So that's like
Hmm.
a no-go for me. Like, I'm not doing it. It's private
Hmm.
pay. There's ways around, I'm involved with some different mental health coalitions to serve, our less fortunate populations, but that's just a no-go for me. But
Hmm.
I need to flesh out this adolescent piece,
Yeah.
big
Who's your
time,
favorite?
because I have a favorite. I have a
Okay.
favorite, but I'm panicking.
Okay. Say more.
I'm panicking. I am a middle school counselor. I've been a middle school counselor for 16 years. They are my jam. I
Hmm.
love the middle schoolers. I especially love the girls, the the high achieving girls who struggle with the transition into middle school when the friendships change. I love
Hmm.
normalizing what is developmentally appropriate, what's not. I love helping them build up the advocacy skills for having those tough conversations with friends. So everything friend drama, like you hear parents being like, I don't want to deal with this drama. I'm like, give it to me. I love
Hmm.
the drama and I love helping students flesh it out.
Hmm.
And so I think the part where I'm getting jumbled is I hear people on here, like, oh, I live in a small town, I live in a small town, and it's like 15,000 people, 20,000 people. I'm talking like 3,000 people.
Hmm.
Um, and with the accompanying other side of the mountain, which is like 10,000 people, but I'm really focusing on the 3,000 side. So I am worried about getting too narrow, but everything I said, I hear says that I need to get narrow.
Hmm. And
Um,
you've got 2 states to market to.
I do have 2 states to market to. Yes. Um, and it, I've been marketing. I've been primarily because I've been balancing the school counseling job. It's primarily been social media. I
Hmm.
love social media. I'm one of those people that love social media. I probably
Hmm.
overdid it and spent too much time doing the social media, so I definitely have scaled that
We'll
back.
call that testing. You were just testing.
Well, and it did. It gave me great information on Instagram and Facebook. I saw, I learned what was people were watching and what they weren't.
Hmm.
And so I feel like as I'm closing out this chapter, my next big push needs to be an announcement on our local community Facebook page because that's where everybody gets their information. And
Hmm.
so now that I'm feeling like a little jumbled, I'm like, I want to get that right. I want to get
Yeah.
that Facebook, that initial Facebook post out to the community right.
Hmm.
Um, and so what I'm thinking is like there are a lot of kids over the summer, and I know there's the summer slump, but there are a lot of kids transitioning from fifth grade into middle school. There are a lot of
Hmm.
kids transitioning from eighth grade into high school. There are a lot of people transitioning from high school into college. Those
Hmm.
transitions I love, you know.
Hmm.
And so is there a way to market that transition over the summer?
I think it'd be really cool to do. Okay, I'm thinking about the size of your town. I got to keep that in mind.
So there's 3,000 in the Driggs Victor area, which
Hmm.
is this Idaho sister city to Jackson Hole, which, is
Hmm.
the big resort town.
Right,
And
right.
so, but I currently work and I've been a school counselor in Jackson for the last
Okay.
13 years. So,
Hmm.
um, though I live in Idaho, so
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
so I'm trying to become a part of the community over there. My name is primarily known over here in Jackson.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the trickiness.
So I think like how far is it from Jackson to where your office is?
45 minutes.
Okay. Because well, and this is maybe a heavy lift for starting out, but I was thinking groups could be really great. But that is a heavier lift, and you have to be so much more annoying with it. And the kids are
Hmm.
going to know each other because it's smaller communities.
Right,
Um,
right.
okay. I want to talk about transitions, but I also want to talk about friendships
Okay.
because I think both those things are really important. And I don't want you to focus on the transitions because that happens once a year. And I
Yeah,
want you to have client flow the whole year. And
correct.
middle school girls or in teens, like tweens and teens,
Tweens and teens.
and their relationships are a mess, right? I've
Yeah.
got a rising eighth grader. So like I'm in it. I'm the mom of your people, you know. I know
Right.
how the friendships can be hard, and ever changing. Um,
Well, and I guess that's one thing like I'm wondering about too is there are, sometimes with these friendship pieces, um, it's what I've loved doing as a school counselor is like bringing two girls together or their moms together and like, let's sort this out. Let's learn how to talk to each other in respectful, ways. We don't
mhm,
have to walk out of here best friends, but we do need to know how to walk out of here
mhm,
respectful of the process. And so sometimes that is a long-term thing that I do with girls, and sometimes that's like a 3-session thing and we're
mhm,
done. And there's something that's really appealing to me about that, that school counselors don't have the time for.
right.
Um, so I'm all over the place.
Yeah, but when you're a school counselor, or when you're not a school counselor, it's also like a totally different ask to have two girls come in, like the other girl
Correct.
come in.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, I'm thinking too about like what would need to be going on for me to be like, oh, my kid needs counseling around relationships.
Yeah.
And so I think there's some really nice specificity you can get into there. Like, have they been ostracized? Are there text chains about like maligning their child that they found out about?
Yeah.
Um, are they ostracizing? And you're concerned as a parent about the things that you noticed when you looked at their phone, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, So I
Well,
think drilling into that ideal client and who you like, what kind of friendship messiness are we talking about? And then you can also talk about how often like these things often peak during these transitions.
mhm,
But then as things shift and change through the school year, continue to show up in new and different ways. So you
right.
can still kind of highlight how the start of the school year, the end of the summer, like these are tough times, the end of the school year, like, yeah.
Okay. And that brings up another question of like, and I've probably redone my website, a million times, like everybody has, but really trying to speak to who's going to be looking at my website, which I
Hmm.
anticipate is going to be moms.
Yeah.
And so far, that's been the case. Um, and so, I mean, I think being in the world of school counseling, I do know what these moms are hearing or seeing or the kids are experiencing. And part of me wants to speak to the mom and, the girl that's coming home in tears. Uh,
Hmm.
but also, like, I'm so used to my client being the student that it's really hard for me to wrap my head around not speaking to the student on or
Yes.
kid on the website.
I do want
Um,
you to speak to the kid on one page in a
okay.
video, ideally.
Okay.
And to say like, I mean, to talk like you would in session
Yeah.
and to give them credit, like
Yes.
very few adults know what it's like to be you right now. It's a
Right.
completely different world than when your mom was a kid. And, you know, I've been helping kids through this for the last 12 years. I forget, is that what you said? 12 years?
Uh,
Um,
16 years
16
total.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
13 at the
I've
level.
I've been helping kids through this for the last 16 years. And while I don't know what it's like to be you, because I lived a different adolescence, but I have a pretty good idea of how hard it is.
Okay.
And I want to give you credit for it. And I also want you to have a better time. I want you to
Yeah.
like not mind going to school. I want your relationships to feel good. And there's some stuff you got to learn to get there.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Would there be benefit on this, this community Facebook page announcement of doing a video? I think that is, or including a video that would definitely be different than what the other counselors have been doing. But
Hmm.
also, if I direct them to, if they click on my Facebook or my Instagram, there's tons of me on there in video
Right.
form. Do I just let them see me right off the bat to get more clicks on my social media, and have them do more of a deep dive into who I am? Or do I just do the general, like accepting new clients, you know?
I mean, I think anything you can do to really make you stand out. Are the other folks working with adolescents niched?
No. And
Okay.
and that's the thing that's like nobody around here is really super niched because
Hmm.
it's a small area and people pretty much do everything, and
Hmm.
being a school counselor, like I know who I refer out to, but they still see everybody, and
Right.
all of the issues. Um, so I think, and that is some of my hesitation of doing it is like all these other counselors are full and with like a variety of people and
Hmm.
issues, which is appealing, but I'm so um like this is what I know I'm good at right
Hmm. Yeah. And you can say I work primarily with, if you want to leave some wiggle room.
now.
Are these folks all full private pay?
No, I
Okay.
mean uh, that's the other thing is the difference between what people are charging on one side of the mountain and the other is
Hmm.
vastly different. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like 350 a session in Jackson and
Hmm.
like I did market analysis on the Idaho side and it's I'm coming in at 180.
Hmm.
But then I have this opportunity for an office space on Fridays starting this fall in Jackson and it's
Hmm.
like I don't even know if there's a possible the way you can't market two different prices to me
Hmm.
within you know over state lines, and it's hard because I do get a little anxious of people on the Jackson side saying, oh, that price is too low, like she doesn't know
Hmm.
what she's doing.
Right.
But then that's where I'm hoping my reputation on this side and my name on this side helps me. um
So you're wanting to charge less, or you feel like you have to.
I feel like because my physical office space, because it's what I can afford, my physical office space is on the Idaho side, where
Hmm.
market analysis says 180. I now recently got an opportunity for an office
Hmm.
space on Fridays in Jackson starting this fall.
Hmm.
I can't say, hey, if you live in Idaho, you're paying
Right.
180. It just doesn't work that way. So I'm worried about charging too little.
Right. I would charge what you would charge for Jackson. And if somebody on the Idaho side, because people don't read, if they call and they want to do a consultation and they feel like a good fit and they are like, oh, I can't do that, then you can say, would you be able to do and throw another number out there? Like they could essentially be sliding scale.
Right.
So you could not advertise that. You could say there are some sliding scale spots
Mhm.
available.
Okay.
Um, but yeah.
Uh,
And you're also virtual. So there's also this piece of like, you can charge the high amount. There are people in Idaho charging that amount.
Yes.
Like the what you charge needs to be based on what you need to make and how many
Right.
hours you want to work, not on market analysis.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is, market analysis, like can meet, I can meet my needs with the 180. Um, but the that's where the, 4 or 6 weeks of vacation and, well, I set 4 or 6 weeks of vacation. And all of those things kind of like I'm like, oh, that might just have to be on hold for this first year, like while I get everything figured out.
Interesting. Hmm.
But at the same time, I'm setting my practice up in such a way that I'm getting the life that I want. Like I'm not working
Hmm.
5 days a week. I'm not,
Right.
like I'm not doing more than 18 clients. Like
Hmm.
that's like that's what these modules have been so helpful for. Like I am in
Hmm.
fact the best boss I've ever had already.
Good. Yes,
So,
yes.
um, well, and it's interesting that you say that because when I first started and I was licensed in Wyoming first, I did have one virtual client and they did pay I mean, of course I'm private pay, but at that point my rate was higher.
Hmm.
And then they stopped because they said they couldn't afford it. And I was willing to work with them or whatever. But that just didn't happen. And then when I was networking in Idaho with all the Idaho people, then they're like, "Oh no, your rate is way too high," and they're on both sides too. So,
Hmm. So my guess is there are people in Wyoming who are seeing clients in Idaho because they're
mhm,
licensed in both places also, and they're
yes,
probably charging them the Jackson rate. And most of your referrals are going to come from Jackson because that's where your reputation is, right?
but those are also going to be virtual, and I don't know why I can't get over this. Like, virtual is less valuable.
Hmm.
Um, I can work on that with my therapist.
Hmm.
Uh,
And we're virtual right now. Do you feel like it's less valuable?
no, not at all,
Hmm.
and that's how I see my counselor, and I don't
I
feel
love
that
it.
way
Yeah.
either.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, okay. I think maybe some of it has to do with just the immediacy of like this was going to be a 3-year transition and now it's 8 months and
Hmm.
it's like holy cow, come September, like I need to be able to pay my bills.
Yeah.
Uh, which is why I thought about insurance for a hot second and then I was like, no,
Yeah.
not doing it. Um,
And if
I'm
you're wanting to pay your bills and most of your referral sources are coming from the wealthier part of town,
mhm,
and like that's who knows you.
right,
That's who's already had those are the moms who've sat in your office to help, witness their daughters work through some stuff.
right, yes. Well, the 2 clients I've had so far don't even fall within that niche, but
Hmm.
I know that they're not all going
Right, right.
too. So
But you
yeah.
also have you been marketing that niche specifically?
The tween niche. Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
The tween relationship piece.
Um, I think it's been more tween life is hard. I'm
Hmm.
here to help. Um,
Hmm.
in this like I did like this Monday myth series with middle school with for parents about, like myths that were constantly like my student hates their teacher. Do I need to call the school and see if I can, like, these kinds of, oh no, I just lost my train of thought. The bell rang. I'm so excited to get out of the school world. Um, yeah, I feel like I have marketed to the tween niche. Some of it's been relationships, some of it's been other stuff.
Mhm.
Um, would you recommend, if that is my most favorite, that that is what I niche?
I mean, one thing you could do is like market to teens and tweens, and then so like your homepage talks about like life is hard because relationships are hard, and feeling like perfectionistic at school is hard, and whatever third thing might be like a part of the constellation of your favorite kid.
Okay.
And so you have like three different things underneath. Ice picture. So like here's how they all interplay. Here are three things underneath, and each of those leads to a specialty page about perfectionism in the teen and tween years, about relationships being so messy and why, and like, describing the parents' experience of the kid coming home,
Right.
crying and not knowing as a parent whether to reach out to the other parents. Like that's a
Right.
messy thing
That
of
is a huge,
yeah. And
yeah.
like, and whether to reach out to the school. Like, well, this
Right.
goes against their like or what is it? Citizenship, like their
Yeah.
whatever they call the like virtual citizenship rules that they signed and agreed to, like all this kind of stuff. Like, what's the actual boundary
Mhm.
without being an asshole parent who's over
Right.
controlling a situation that's pretty normative?
Yeah, and I do feel like that's probably the strongest thing that do in my homepage of my website is the, like,
Hmm.
as a parent not knowing when to step in, step back,
Hmm.
or like I don't remember exactly how I have that worded, but that just that felt right.
Yeah, yeah. And then having that thing like for teens and tweens, and that's your video where you're talking directly to them.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
because I think that allows for like some clear specificity of the demographic you love to work with and like what they're struggling with,
Yeah.
in a way that will still bring in some other people that are, struggling with some of these things less hard, like school anxiety is less hard, but you
Right.
know,
Right. Well, and I think as a school counselor, there's the variety of stuff that I've dealt with.
I
And
can only imagine.
my background's in clinical psychology, so I brought that therapeutic, expertise to the job. Um,
Hmm.
but there's so many things I like and so many things I feel like I'm good at with the 16 years of, everything. Um,
Hmm.
that, yeah, I just don't want to get bored. I do like the variety of school. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I do really, really like.
Yeah. So make sure you touch, like you highlight the things that you really love working with.
Okay.
Because the friendship thing, that's going to be a thing, like all of them are dealing with that. Is that the thing bringing them to therapy? We'll see. Because like
Yeah.
for me to bring my kid to therapy, and I did at one point because she was getting bullied.
Hmm.
And it was like she just didn't like she was starting to feel so bad about herself and she just didn't have a safe
Yeah.
environment at school. So I brought her then. But
Yeah.
now, and that was when she was in elementary school. Now, her friendships shift and change, but none of it's like, oh, I better have her talk to somebody about this.
Right.
So like figuring out where that threshold is, where not only are like kids will go to a school counselor, I think, probably a little faster because it's accessible. It's right there. It doesn't cost
Yeah.
anything.
Well, and now that you're saying that, like I realize a lot of these girls that I'm talking about, like are the ones that have shown up in my office with their parent or after a parent's called because they have been bullied to the point of like considering suicide. Um,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so I feel like those are the ones that like those are the ones I'm really good at.
Mm-hmm.
So that I could see a parent wanting to bring their kid to therapy for.
100% in a
Yes.
heartbeat.
Okay. And then that's where the other fun stuff that I like working with them, which is building the confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and the self-advocacy skills and normalizing the friendship changes at this age and all, okay, where all of that comes.
Mm-hmm. And so those could be some of those could be different pages, like confidence, because they might not know about the suicidality. because not
Yes,
every kid's going to talk about that, but they
correct.
will see their
But it's
child is like not
right. It's those same kids that
themselves.
are like school refusing, you know?
Hmm.
So there's a couple, okay, I'm getting
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's all about that parent perspective because when they land on your website, that's what they see. It's like,
Okay.
oh my God, this was yesterday. This was Tuesday, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so helpful. It's crazy how you can be wrestling with something for so long and then just talking it out like this.
Yeah. Some of us are verbal
So
processors,
helpful.
right?
Well, in that vein, you have 4 minutes, I think, probably until your next. I'm going
Yeah.
to give you 4 minutes to do what you need to do.
Amazing. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Allison. I really appreciate you. All
Absolutely. Keep it like keep me updated in the Facebook group. I want to hear how things are
right.
going.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.